It is happening. Kaspa is holding up better than most altcoins in the market, climbing from 52 in overall market cap back up to number 41. But what's next for the chart? Stuck right here at a very pivotal price point of 7.5 cents. What is next? But not just looking at Caspa, we've got to look at the overall market, because we know if Bitcoin goes down, everything else will go down. So how does the overall market look? In this video, we're going to break down all of this, but we're going to do a deep dive specifically into the Caspa chart and what key price levels we ought to look for, guys. None of this is ever financial advice. I love you all. So coming over here to CoinMarketCap, a lot of things are looking good. As you can see, Caspa is back up here, about to break into the 30s, and the community is as bullish as ever, guys. Right here on my X, I put, what's your Cas price prediction this cycle? 50 cents, $1, or $5. And look at this. Overwhelmingly, people chose $5. I had this one gentleman comment that that's too high of a number, $2.50 to $3.50, and I do believe a lot of people would be happy with $2 to $3 this cycle. I know we had a lot of very bullish price predictions, but let's be honest, the cycle has not played out the way that we expected. But your Caspa is worthless if it gets stolen from you, and do not leave it on a hot wallet, guys. I have a 10% off promo code for Tangent. That is what I personally keep all of my Caspa on. I even swap directly for Caspa on it. It's promo code Freeman. I'll leave a link down below if anyone's interested. But just like an economy, the middle class, I believe, is very important for cryptocurrencies. You do not want it too top heavy. And if you look at right here, the dolphin tier, look at how quick it is growing. Up almost 700 wallets in just the last 90 days, 435 of those being in the last 30 days. So when we look at this crab octopus capitulation, could that be some very low wallets that sold off? Yes, some of it is, unfortunately, but I also believe it is people graduating, people who dollar cost averaged and really worked on building up. And one thing that had me a little worried about Caspa recently was the overall hash rate. We had a high of about 1.4 exahash. This is a proof of work network. This relies on miners keeping the network secure. And if it costs more to mine Caspa than the price of Caspa, meaning these people are losing money mining, some of them will turn off their miners. Not a long-term vision, more short-term focused. And that did have me concerned. But we could see we have had a rebound from this day of being just 834 petahashes. We are back up over 1 exahash. And I believe what that was people probably upgrading their nodes. We are almost here to 10 blocks per second. Crescendo fully live. Doesn't this just look absolutely beautiful? Now, not only are we going to have 10 blocks a second, but we've got to have builders coming to the network to fill the blocks. We've got to get smart contracts. We got to get dApps. This is a long road to build Caspa out to be the ultimate layer 1, but I am here for it, and I'm ready to see it every step of the way. But I truly do believe that it is all of this upgrade that was forcing it into it. As you can see right here, calling all Caspa integrations to run a test node 10. People were talking about needing to upgrade and everything. And I do believe that is why we've seen this hash rate temporarily go down. The rest of the downside, I believe, is just because of miners turning off. Some people turned off whenever it becomes not profitable. The same thing happens with BTC, even though right now, one thing I want to point out and why I am extremely bullish on crypto is Bitcoin is at an all-time high hash rate. And I'll put a tweet that I posted right here comparing the Caspa hash rate and the Bitcoin hash rate. But let's get into this Caspa price action, because that's what all of us are here for. And when we look at it, we are at a very, very critical level, guys. You got to zoom out and look at historically what has been very, very important price levels. And you could see that coming all the way back to here, we had this level right here around 7 cents. So if we come over here and we just grab like a rectangle and we come here and let's just say from where this started down here and we come all the way over and then we go ahead and extend this out, you could see this this has been a price level that has played critical. Right here, it acted as support whenever we had that flash crash a couple months back. Then it came up and then it finally broke. But whenever we're zooming in, it really does look like we could have potentially had a double bottom. We had a death cross on BTC, and y'all know that that often marks the bottom. It could also mark the very beginning of a bear market. So let's hope not. But even if there is still a silver lining for Caspa, I'll just have to say that. But I am expecting us to be extremely bullish with growing M2 liquidity, guys. It's just a matter of time, in my opinion. But whenever we look at this market structure right here, it does look like we've got a reversal. We had a low, we had a high, we had a higher low, we had a higher high. Then if you see this, we had a higher low, we had a higher high. And after this high, we're just sitting here kind of channeling. And I do expect a lot of volatility coming over the next few weeks. And so what I am personally expecting is to see us trending somewhere in here. So hopefully this will look something like this when you zoom out in a couple months. Something like this, maybe trend down just like this number, making a bull flag, and then we'll pop out. And of course, the next level that we all have to be extremely, extremely interested in is this 10-cent level. We're going to need a lot of volume and a lot of buying power to get through that. But as long as we sit here and consolidate for some time and we don't worry about busting out instantly, guys, I really think it's important to come up here and consolidate until around the beginning of May. That is when M2 liquidity is lining up with about a 100-day offset to pump into the markets. Right now, we have global M2 liquidity going up, but we also have China's monetary policy printing. Jerome Powell might not be printing, but China is, and all of this liquidity will flow into all markets eventually. But we are in a very crazy time right now. What would be the most beneficial thing for Caspa, for crypto, for all of these projects right here, and all of these will benefit from Caspa doing good. Let's just be honest about that. But you can see that Bitcoin has the exact same market structure, but with a lot of uncertainty. Like I said, the best thing to be what happened is if we had a whole bunch of good trade deals coming out, tariffs get canceled on China, on everyone, and then the money printer goes brr in America and all the liquidity flows into our cryptocurrencies, especially Caspa. Wouldn't that just be absolutely awesome? But truth is, Caspa is looking good relative to everything else. If we see it's continuing to climb, but it's just still following BTC. BTC barely made a higher high if you look right here. And right now it's coming down to potentially make a higher low. If it goes a little bit lower, I do not think that would be the end of the world because like I said, I could completely see this kind of bull flagging out just like this number. And then this eventually turning down and doing this just like this channel coming down here, maybe bouncing off 80 right here towards the beginning of May. And then boom, going off. But we have what has been historical low on the fear and greed index. You could see right here at 15, a double bottom and then a bounce. That's a yearly low, but also the low going back to 2023 over here on CoinMarketCap. But we are nowhere near altcoin season whenever it comes to this chart. We're sitting at only a 15, but there's a lot of very bullish things coming up on for Caspa. So I think when we look at this, guys, if we believe in Caspa, then I know it's hard to be patient whenever you're wanting your bags to pack. But let's just be honest. You're just wanting them to pump so you can sell them to somebody else for more than what you bought it for. But if you're really looking at Caspa as something that could be a means of exchange, it really could be the next Bitcoin, then you think of that as a long-term value. So being able to buy at these very low prices is a gift that may never be had again. But guys, always know this is ever financial advice. I'm just a dude on YouTube, but this is what I think about Caspa. But I want to know, what do you think? Do you think that the low is in at a 5.5 cents, or do you think we are at the very beginning of a bear market? Watch this video up above, and if you're not a part of the Freeman of Finance family, what are we doing? Subscribe. I love you all.